Opetaia, but Benavidez, he's badass, bro.
David Benavidez beat Jai Opetaia. Hell yeah, he beat.
The discussion surrounding boxing's premier cruiserweight clash keeps intensifying as supporters and pundits contrast elite quickness with unyielding aggression. David Benavidez versus Jai Opetaia is now regarded as the division's definitive bout, and Opetaia has stated plainly how he wants his career path to proceed. From his perspective, getting past Benavidez represents the essential move toward claiming undisputed championship status.
Be fighting for the WBC next against Noel, and then I'd be fighting Benavidez for the other 2 belts, and I'd become undisputed, and then I'd go up to heavyweight. You know what I mean? But I've got a feeling it's not going to be that simple, and they're going to drag it out for a fair bit, and I'm going to have to sort of, you know, zigzag to get to this destination. But
Bruce Carrington has also offered his perspective and is siding with Benavidez to prevail. Although he respects Opetaia's abilities and acknowledges him as one of the division's most polished operators, Carrington feels Benavidez carries a degree of superiority that distinguishes him from the rest of the field. He stays convinced that the Mexican standout still possesses an additional gear to access.
I feel like you gotta... Okay, Opetaia, right? Let me touch base on him. I think that Benavidez is the superior fighter when it comes to Opetaia. Like, Opetaia, he's good. I like Opetaia, but Benavidez, he's badass, bro. Oh my gosh, like, he's mean. I really like Benavidez in that fight. Behold, I always said, in order to beat Benavidez, you have to have a gas tank to box him.
Tim Bradley continues holding firm with his selection as well, insisting Benavidez would get the better of Opetaia. Bradley contends Benavidez's foremost asset is compelling adversaries into grueling contests where they ultimately fold under incessant harassment. He references Benavidez's track record of breaking down skillful opponents and anticipates that pattern carrying forward.
Oh, I'ma double down. He gonna beat Opetaia. I double down on that one. He gonna beat Opetaia. See, Opetaia got good feet. Yeah, he can box, but he can be drugged into a fight. And if you know anything about David Benavidez, just like he did with Ramirez, he's the one of those guys that's gonna test your heart. He gonna test what you have in here. And once he go to Jai's and he tests what he has in here, Jai gonna lose his. Jai ain't gonna be.
In Bradley's assessment, Opetaia would be unable to maintain his movement and outboxing approach over the complete distance. Rather, he would eventually be sucked into a strenuous affair where stamina emerges as the critical element. And that represents the moment when Benavidez would assume command.
Jai gonna get tired too. Yeah, because Jai, if you look at the history of Jai Opetaia, he get tired. Yes, he gets tired. Period.
Not everybody shares that same level of certainty regarding Benavidez, though. Several analysts are cautioning fans against dismissing Opetaia's distinctive attributes. They contend this pairing bears little resemblance to Benavidez's prior encounters because Opetaia blends extraordinary footwork with notable hand speed, establishing him as one of today's most perilous cruiserweights.
The fight of all fights. I'm telling you now, a lot of people are gonna, off the back of Opetaia versus Glanton and now Benavidez versus Zerdo, everyone's gonna go Benavidez. I'm not making that mistake. Opetaia's a as well. He's a and unlike Zerdo, Opetaia has fast hands and fast feet. Opetaia's hand speed, it's not as fast as Benavidez, but it's respectable. His feet are better than Benavidez's. He's a southpaw. So don't start to, Benavidez runs through Opetaia.
Elaborating on that perspective, the tactical dimension grows increasingly absorbing. Opetaia's mobility together with his unorthodox southpaw orientation introduces obstacles Benavidez hasn't routinely faced. Although Benavidez flourishes when drawing rivals into tight exchanges, uncertainty persists regarding whether that same formula proves effective against someone as nimble and evasive as Opetaia.
Opetaia's hand speed, it's not as fast as Benavidez, but it's respectable. His feet are better than Benavidez's. He's a southpaw. So don't start to, Benavidez runs through Opetaia. No. I'm not doing that. Not doing that. Does not run through him at all. That's a fight. And as for my guy Bivol, don't know, man. Nervous for Bivol a little bit. Can't lie, Benavidez, dangerous. Dangerous fighter. Bivol's a better boxer though, isn't he?
Even after acknowledging those reservations, the forecast continues tilting marginally toward Benavidez. His recent outings grant him the smallest of advantages, even as it's characterized as one of the closest contests imaginable. Should Benavidez emerge victorious, numerous observers believe it would boost his standing and position him among boxing's premier figures.
I'd make him favourite on both of them. Marginal favourite. 55-45 in the Opetaia fight, and like 51-49 in the Bivol fight. I don't know if he could make 175 again. I don't know. I feel like he's going to stay at cruiser. And then I'm telling you now, he might cut some dudes at heavyweight, because he will look at those people as stuck in the mud. Like, he will see their punches. The only one.
Samson Lukovic views the matter from a markedly different angle. He contends Opetaia undermined his reputation by surrendering the IBF World Championship. In his estimation, being acknowledged as a rightful title holder holds greater significance than pursuing bigger purses. And he firmly opposes the choice that was made.
Nothing without the belt. For the culture of the fans, you need to be a belt. He lost the belt for money, so now they didn't keep the money. You know, he lost much more fighting Benavidez for the title in unification that he's making now. He make a very bad decision. I believe the people surrounded him. He didn't have a patience to look for the best for his fighter.
Advancing that reasoning further, Lukovic believes Opetaia deliberately exchanged championship distinction for monetary benefit. He additionally feels that identical mentality could steer Opetaia towards softer, more lucrative assignments rather than accepting the most formidable adversaries, Benavidez among them.
This guy, he gave up the title knowing him, Opetaia, and his management and lawyers. He knows that he gave stripped, but he won the money. Now you can go to a market and buy many belts. Maybe you can go to Turkey. If you go to Turkey, you can find belts, and we can go to, I don't know.
When questioned about how a battle between the two would conclude, Lukovic responds without pausing. He asserts Benavidez would eagerly welcome the assignment and forecasts the bout finishing inside the distance. He rejects any notion that Benavidez would opt for weaker opposition over a genuine elite counterpart.
And he's not afraid, because I'm pretty sure that after I see the last fight, it would knock him out even worse. So now he wants to try for a belt and money. Go for the money with Sufa. Now he give another bomb, and that's it.
Yeah, well, we look forward to seeing how David's career kicks on, because it's been going up and we've been loving to see it, and just an awesome story too for him, and obviously, yeah, we'll see what happens with.
While dialogue regarding Opetaia persists, fresh indications imply Benavidez's short-term trajectory may point elsewhere. Accounts increasingly direct attention toward a WBC title confrontation with Noel Mikhailian, and Mauricio Suleiman has publicly validated this as the pathway currently under pursuit, clearing up considerable ambiguity surrounding Benavidez's forthcoming engagement.
Order is Mikhailian against Benavidez. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
If he takes another fight, then he's relinquishing his obligations with the WBC.
Okay.
Yeah, the WBC ruling, which is public at the convention, you were there. It was that the winner of Batu Jack against Mikhailian would be the WBC Cruiserweight champion, would be allowed one voluntary defense, and then had to do the two.
The scheduling appears logical given that both competitors arrive following impressive triumphs while preserving unblemished records. With each man safeguarding a flawless resume, the WBC has intervened to mandate the pairing as a compulsory championship tilt.
WBC has been in constant communication with Mikhailian's management and promoter. There have been some issues between them. There were some issues. Alberto Leon had some Zooms at the end. They were not able to come to terms. So when the WBC received a petition from our light heavyweight champion, who is David Benavidez, who won the WBA and the WBO Cruiserweight Championship, to fight against Mikhailian, the WBC ruled in favor and ordered Mikaelian to fight against Benavidez. That is the WEC position. That is the fight that has to take place.
The circumstances additionally generate a challenging predicament for Mikaelian. He may be compelled to choose between defending his WBC belt against Benavidez or chasing a potentially richer Turkey Alashik-supported opportunity with Opetaia. It represents more than a routine mandatory obligation. It stands as a call that could influence both his historical standing and monetary prospects.
Fight people want to see. We want to fight Bivol, Beterbiev, or Opetaia. But then he said in the Bivol fight could be done in 5 minutes. All Bivol has to do is want to make the fight and not instead of fighting Beterbiev a third time. He's like, but he's not going to do that. He's going to fight Beterbiev a third time. The other people I'm talking to are saying, yep, 20 million apiece in Russia. That's likely next. I mean, nothing's for certain, but that's the play. So from Jose's perspective, this is just his side of things. That's why I'm mandating David.
Certain observers think Mikaelian could favor the Opetaia payday should the financial proposition prove sufficiently enticing. Were that to occur, he might relinquish the WBC crown instead of risking it against Benavidez. Such a scenario would render the championship vacant and potentially hand Benavidez an alternative pathway to the belt without confronting Mikaelian directly.
WBC has made their decision to make Noel Mikaelian's mandatory. Noel Mikaelian is going to have a decision to make. Is he going to want to keep his a big boy decision, which is he going to want to keep his WBC belt and defend against David Benavidez for what would be a lower purse ultimately for what he'd get offered to fight a Turkey-funded ring show for the lineal cruiserweight title?
Blue Blood Sports TV has articulated his stance with absolute clarity. He holds that Benavidez defeats both Opetaia and Mikaelian, proceeding to label Benavidez as the premier fighter spanning 2 weight divisions. While conceding Opetaia would pose the sternest examination, his overall faith in Benavidez's capabilities stays unaltered.
David Benavidez might be fighting for a WBC strap at cruiserweight next. Sounds like if it comes down to money, it won't be against Noel Mikaelian, who will be stripped and instead look to fight Jai Opetaia for the ring title. And that Beterbiev and Bivol will be fighting a trilogy in Russia. And that Noel Mikaelian and Jai Opetaia will be unifying, and David Benavidez will be fighting for a WBC belt next. Whether it's against Noel Mikaelian or not, sounds like it's more probability that it's not.
He attributes Benavidez's thorough skill collection as the primary factor behind his continued success versus top-tier opposition. Addressing Opetaia in particular, he maintains the Australian's approach isn't challenging to decipher and lacks the explosive qualities required to disturb Benavidez. Given the extensive arsenal at his disposal, he believes Benavidez holds numerous avenues toward triumph.
I think David Benavidez beats Jai Opetaia, and I think he beats this Mikaelian guy. I think he beats both of them. As a matter of fact, I think he's going to beat Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. I think he's the better out of both in both weight classes, light heavyweight and cruiserweight. I truly feel like he's the best fighter in both those divisions. Jai Opetaia, I believe, will be the toughest test of them all.
Past those prospective encounters, another prominent name persists within the discourse. Team Benavidez has signaled plainly that confronting elite figures like David Morrell represents precisely the category of test they're seeking as they move ahead.
Power puncher, but I just think David Benavidez beats him. The Mikaelian guy, I think that David Benavidez beats him. More tools in the toolbox. Jai Opetaia is the toughest fighter, but I think he's slow.
Sergio Mora considers that particular matchup carries notable peril because of the physical discrepancies involved. Morrell's innate power, imposing build, and unrelenting forward aggression present a wholly distinct obstacle from the retreating boxers Benavidez has historically handled with success.
We're here. Let's go. Let's make it.
What's he been saying, coach?
Well, I heard, that he said that, he's going to stop this guy that's talking a lot of that, we're not talking. We want to fight your son, bro. You know what's so bad about that? If all my interviews, if you see in David's interviews, we give this guy his flowers. He's a great fighter. He's a dangerous fighter. He beat Canelo. He beat Zurdo Ramirez. He beat Beterbiev. He's a great fighter. Why are you getting...
Chris Mannix presents an alternative viewpoint centered on chronology. He draws attention to Morrell's increasing age coupled with an extended hiatus approaching 2 years, proposing those elements might generate the optimal opening for Benavidez. With relative youth and quickness working in his favor, This could represent the perfect occasion to secure the career-defining victory every fighter aspires to.
He's willing to face anyone anytime. But now the Mexican monster, Benavidez, has become a prize fighter. He wants those big dates. Beterbiev, I think, even at this stage, 41 years old, will be trouble for Benavidez because he's a natural bigger fighter. He's a natural cruiserweight. He started his career at cruiserweight. Is Beterbiev. Benavidez beats down boxers on the back foot.
Mannix contends that defeating a figure of Morel's stature would immediately establish Benavidez as Mexico's premier active boxing attraction. Mora rejects that approach, favoring a more measured strategy that shields Benavidez's long-term prospects rather than jeopardizing everything in a hazardous encounter prematurely.
Look, I want to see Benavidez fight Dimitri Bivol. I think that's the biggest fight to make in the light heavyweight division. It got even bigger when Benavidez beat Sergio Ramirez to win those 2 belts at cruiserweight. So whether or not you do it at light heavyweight or a cruiser, Benavidez-Bivol is a big fight. I'd rather see it take place at a light heavyweight, because then it would be for the undisputed championship in that weight class. Bivol's done it before, but it would give Benavidez a chance to really add some gold to his mantle, some legacy to his career. If that fight can't happen next, though, and we've heard a lot about Callum Smith, and he's next in line.
Morel personally has confronted the matchup directly, insisting he has at no point sidestepped fighting Benavidez. He clarified that prior scheduling complications tied to his engagement with Anthony Yarde prevented the bout from occurring sooner. In Morel's telling, willingness was never absent, only timing. Should the chance materialize at last, he stands prepared to embrace one of the sport's most grueling assignments.
Beterbiev, you can say to Bivol, like, you didn't want to fight this guy? Fine, I'll take him. I'll take him out. I'll take his proverbial scalp. Like, it feels like that's a story in and of itself. Like, Jai Opetaia, I'm not questioning the talent of Jai Opetaia. I just don't think he's known. I don't think that's a huge event right now. It's not even for undisputed at cruiserweight, because Jai doesn't have his belt anymore. And, you know,
look, I'm with you on number 1 being Bivol, but number 2, I would much rather see Benavidez versus Opetaia than Beterbiev. That's just my personal opinion.
Remain current with each significant advancement by subscribing to the channel, guaranteeing you never overlook the newest boxing developments. Drop your thoughts in the comments regarding who you think prevails in these potential pairings and what leads you to that conclusion.